am 32 male and my wife is 31 female. I run a successful medical business that I have been doing for 5 years now. I was making enough money for my wife and 3 children to live comfortably. My wife cut back on her hours at work and was spending most of her time with our children. A few years ago, my wife introduced me to a woman. She called her a good friend and a mentor. I don't know how she and my wife became friends, but along the line, my wife told me, "There's this friend of mine who needs help." I told her what you do, and she wanted to start in the medical business similar to yours. I think she would do very well with it if she gets the right tool and mentoring. Can you help her for me? Just introduce her to the right people, the right method, the things you do for others. The question I asked was, I hope she has money to pay. My wife answered, "She's a friend. I don't think she has much, but help her. We will pay you later." I got her number and called her. Her name is Janet. She said, "Your wife said you have a lot of experience in this industry and you have been doing very well, and I trust her. What I'm doing is similar to what you're doing. It's growing, but I need to start right. I need people like you to show me the way. I hope I can afford your service." I answered, "You can. When you grow, you will pay me more. So let's get to it." The first time I went to her place, I went with a friend. We had a productive conversation and said our goodbyes. The following day, she called me. Days later, I called. We switched to texting when we could. The conversation became every day, and sometimes we talk at night. I had the license to talk to her, so it didn't matter the time. We could talk. Sometimes after talking, she would ask me to give the phone to my wife. They would talk forever. The conversation shifted a little bit into personal stuff. How did you meet Grace? And how did you know she's the one? Grace is my wife. I told her our story, how we met, and how I nearly lost her, and how we later came back together and got married. I asked her, how about you? Is there any Mr. Right somewhere? She answered, the men who come into my life are not men enough. They are not the kind you make a husband out of. They want what they want. You give them a slice of the cake and they run with it. I'm tired of them. At 36, I can't continue playing this game with them. I am now married to this thing I'm starting. I'm giving it my all. I know it would be a better husband than those men." It didn't stop there. We talked about her business, but we talked more about relationship stuff. One day, I was in her place sitting right next to her and going through stuff with her when passion rose. I thought it was because of the proximity to her, so I shifted a little. She asked me, "Why have you changed position?" I rushed closer to her and gave her a kiss. I was praying she would fight back, so it would end there, but she kissed back. She kissed so intensely that I asked myself, was she expecting this all along and she didn't initiate it? When we pulled off, she asked me, "Now what?" I answered, "I don't know." We sat quietly for several minutes. She was pressing her phone. I was pretending to be busy on my laptop. She asked, "Are we going to pretend that we don't know what just happened? That we don't want each other?" I answered, "I want you, but my situation makes it dicey. I am married to your friend." She said, "You don't have to remind me about that. We kissed, right? We have already stained our white. No time to regret. But then again, we haven't gone too far. We can pull the plug and pretend it didn't happen." She was still talking when I went for the kiss again, but this time, it went all the way. I dressed up with my conscience beating me up. I saw regret on her face, though she was trying to hide it. We were 2 adults, so we handled our shame masterfully and said goodbye to each other. From there, it became tuition and love. I would tutor her on what she needed and later make way for love to sweep us off our feet. My wife didn't know what was happening, so she kept asking me how it was going with Janet. I said, "We have gone very far. She's doing well. She's not paying me, so we are taking things slowly." She would tell me, "Thank you for being so kind. I know how much of your time you're taking out of your business." She's a trustworthy friend. and we will reap the results someday. I would normally tell her something to the effect of, I am already reaping the results. It comes in different form, but you can still call it reaping. Literally speaking, our action don't remain just action. There are consequences. We may pretend that we don't care about the consequences, but the consequences will always care about us. That call came early in the morning. I was on my way to work when Janet called. Are you alone? Is she there around you? I answered, no, she's not here. I'm on my way to work. She said, you made me a mother. You are going to be a father of my child. I screamed, stop joking, Janet. What are you talking about? She said, check your WhatsApp. I caught the phone and checked. She had sent me a video. She was carrying out the pregnancy test. The video lasted until the strip showed red. Then she said, congratulations, we are going to be parents. Her happiness in the video got me angry. I called her. Hey, what are you happy about? You know this isn't going to be a walk in the park, right? What makes you happy? She said slowly, yes, it's difficult, but we are adults. Adults are made to handle difficult things. Nobody knew that we were being intimate. If we play our cards well, nobody will know you're responsible. Her mind was already made up that she was going to have the baby. Nothing I said made sense to her. She said, no one will know if we don't want them to know. I screamed, if you give birth and the child resembles me, how are you going to explain that? She said, everybody has their look-alike, but no one is complaining. Stop giving yourself high blood pressure. Everything will be alright. So I said, Janet, you planned this, right? That had been the plan all along, right? I fell into your trap, and it makes you happy. You're happy that you're going to destroy me, right? She got angry. She spoke her mind and later said, okay, I get it. You don't want the baby. No problem. It's not yours. It's mine, and I'll take care of it, as if I alone conceived it. Case closed. She then cut the call on me. We didn't talk for over 2 weeks. One day she sent me a message. I know you don't need this information, but it's growing very well. I can hear its heart beat. Why I worry about the future of my family? She was just fine raising illegality within her. Me and my wife have been married for 5 years. We have 3 children together. We had peace. I had a successful business. We had love. Everything was going smoothly in our marriage. We didn't lack. We didn't have a fight that called for external help. No one have ever heard us fight. But I carelessly threw all that away because of one selfish desire. I cursed the day I met Janet. I turned on myself, telling me all sort of bad things, but it didn't change anything. 9 months later, Janet had a baby girl. She said, she doesn't resemble you. Shame on you. She invited us to the naming ceremony. My wife went, but I didn't. She gave a piece of cake to my wife to be given to me. My wife said, she was expecting you to be there, but since you didn't go, she asked me to give you a piece of what happened there. Oh, innocent is bliss. She even laughed about it. I said in my head, you don't know the storm coming. That's why you dance in the middle of a whirlwind. We have been able to keep it a secret for 2 years, but I have suffered through these 2 years. She takes everything from me. When I tell her I don't have money, she tells me, so I should call your wife and take the money from her? Do you want that? Then I will be cowed to send whatever she needed. I believe she wakes up every morning and asks herself, what blackmailing tactics should I use to get money from this man? My business is not suffering, but it's not doing as well as it should. Ever since I met Janet, my business have stopped progressing. Over the months now, I keep giving my wife excuses about money, and my wife has started picking up hours at her work, while Janet continued to blackmail me to get whatever she asked for. For a whole year, I couldn't take a vacation for my family or buy any expensive things for my wife and kids. I am barely scraping by. I know, the business, that medical business that Janet was planning to start, the one she was claiming she was going to get married to, she gave up on it once she got pregnant. Even my wife gave excuses for her, only if she knew. Janet called me one morning and said, Our child will be 3 years old soon. Get ready. She will need a brother to play with, and you are going to provide that. I scream, you are mad. You are out of your mind. If you ever thought I would do that again. She said, then your wife will know about it. That's not a problem at all. I have lost what it takes to be a man for a very long time now because of this girl and her antics. But that day I scream, do you think I care? What haven't you taken from me? Everything. Think I will care if you take my marriage from me? Currently, I don't even have a marriage because of you. I'm making plans already. This charade will come to an end very soon. Watch me. She shook a little and left me alone for a while. Now she came back demanding again. When I tell her that I don't have it, she leaves me alone. Something about her changed, but I don't trust that girl. She has no shame. She can do everything. I'm preparing the grounds to tell my wife. As I said, I don't have anything. If I lose her, it will break me, but not forever. It will be better than Janet manipulating me all the time. So one evening, I set the stage to tell my wife. I made sure my kids were at our in-laws' place, and it was just me and my wife in the house. I have been lying to my wife that I have been struggling with the business, but in reality, most of my money is going to Janet to hide our secret. My wife sat on the living room couch as I prepared to tell her. I tried, but I couldn't. I opened my mouth, but words wasn't coming out. Instead, I started to cry. My wife was deeply concerned. She said, what's going on, my love? Please tell me. I haven't seen you like this before. What's bothering you? I said, never mind. I don't want to destroy us. She said, whatever it is, you know I'll be here for you. We are in this together. What was going through my head was that if she only knew. I look at her face, and she's still the lovely woman I fell in love with. Still can't believe that a few nights of pleasure will be the reason why I lose everything in my life that I care about. I said, babe, I have something serious to tell you. Something that would destroy our relationship. She was staring right into my eyes with anticipation. I said, something to the effect of, Janet is not your friend. She was never your friend. She was not your mentor. She became close to you to get to me. She was never interested in having a medical business. She sprang a trap and I fell for it. Putting 2 and 2 together, my wife realized what I was about to say. She covered her mouth with both of her palms. She knew what I was going to say before I said it. With tears in her eyes, I couldn't stand the look of the tears in her eyes, so I looked down on the floor. She immediately got up and ran into the bedroom and locked the door. I didn't run after her. I just went straight to the refrigerator and got a beer. Then I sat on the living room couch and turned on the TV. I took a sip of the beer, and I can't remember a beer tasting that good in over 3 years. A huge burden had been lifted from my shoulders. Deep inside, I knew my life as I know it is over. It has been shattered. Things would never be the same. For over years now, I wouldn't lie, I thought about hiring someone to get rid of Janet, but I never followed through with it. I can't believe I put myself in this position.